Welcome back into the workshop. I have just made a rather woolly blathering on video about this flaming indecision I've got with the MFT style top, to only repeat to myself once again, just get on with it. And that's what I'm doing. But I did make mention that my track saw was out somewhat, and out for these, and I don't know why it was out from the previous time I checked it, which was perfect, but it was. It doesn't make sense because the wee grub screws that adjust the plate, they wouldn't have moved. So go figure. I'm going to have a think about that. Anyway, how do you check for square? Now I've just cut that one. Pointing the camera in the right direction. I've just cut this edge and I've spun it round and I'm ready to cut the second one. But I've just thought that while I'm blathering on, let's just say I'm going to show you a way of checking for square, or not checking for square. And it's pretty damned obvious. So for those that already know, that's fine. For those that don't, it may be of some use. Now, I've got a little engineer's square here. It's a nice little unit. Actually, it was my friend's dad's, actually. And I've acquired it. He's let me acquire it, of course. Normally, if I was in this situation, I'd put my square on in that direction. And then I'd go down and look at the gap, if there's any, on the edge. I'm going to suggest, well, that's the edge after all that you want to have square, isn't it? Well, of course it is, David. But not really. Well, yes, really, but it's not the way to do it, I think. It would be better if you did it this way. And yeah, I know, I just told you that if you already do it this way, that's fine. But make sure your fingers are in line with the edge, these fingers, is in line with the thickness of your timber, and that's where you put your pressure. As you approach or slide the unit, the square down onto the panel, you'll see that little line of light appear and disappear, and at that point you can start to see whether it's out, so it's wedge shaped there, or out the other way. At the moment, I'm probably not doing it as well as I could. It disappears into a very fine line at the same time. So you have to have a strong light source coming from a direction, on the other side of the square. Now that can be like a torch or cell phone or just a bright light, or like I've got a fairly bright light. It's called the sun coming in there. Now I can come down the other end, which is mandatory, and I do the same thing, and I've got the pressure on and it's actually showing out. So I've got something going on there that I must be tweaking the saw. I wonder, because this is the end where you start and you plunge the saw, whether that's giving some rotational pressure to the saw. And of course, once you start going, that rotational pressure of plunge will be reduced or eliminated. So the question, and I'm going to double check this, in fact I'll do it right now because I have to, because that annoys me, because I was thinking I was going to come down here and find absolutely there's virtually nothing out there. Getting some glasses on. So this is the sort of thing that here's the thing. If you work alone, there is a danger that you'll make a decision or thought within your own circle of conversation, whether it's in your head or in the workshop like I am now. if you've got a friend, like someone that works alongside you, they can give you the occasional kick in the pants or smack in the ear saying, no, David, you haven't thought of this. That's the beauty of working with people and not working on your own like I do all the time. You get the other person's perspective and input, and it can challenge and can be challenging when you get shown that you're wrong. Down there, the cut was perfect, so therefore I would have carried on using the saw in that idea, in that vein. Here, you can hear and see it's hitting out this end first, and there's an ever so slight drop, so it's showing that the cut is still out. So why is it correct up the other end? Same thing there. A little bit further out. It's perfect there. So it's just down this. If so, you can only think of, as you're pushing it, that you're tipping the saw on the track. How is that even possible? Now, I've got a inclinometer, a digital readout for showing how accurate or not you are, and it would be interesting to go along there and see whether my hypothesis is correct, that I'm inducing, by the plunge and then the push, some rotation to the track saw. That in theory should be impossible, because the weight of the saw and the track should actually make it mate perfectly. And for my theory, which sounds like it might stink, I'd have to be lifting the track saw, the track itself. Which way is it? So from there, I'd have to be tweaking it that way. And then when the pressure comes on more evenly, I'll wind up with trying to balance things without dropping them. Perfect. I'm not going to complain about that. So it's not my track saw being out. It must be me using it. What do you think? Have you struck this? This is the trouble at this stage. All of the videos that I've loaded, and I've loaded about 30 videos. I've got probably 300 or 400 videos, because I've made them really as a Dave's Diary entry, and later on I thought about loading them. And I've got a whole series of geodesic dome videos, and they're the ones I was going to load first. And there's there's got to be 100, 120, 130 of those. And they were a journey that I've been making in learning how to draw a particular type of dome, a style of dome. There's enough information out there to be able to draw the ordinary pentagon and hexagon style full dome, but that's not what I was wanting. So therefore I had to educate myself, and there would be someone somewhere with all the information, but I don't know who they are. So I've had to educate myself in how you draw these particular domes. So my major concentration had been on that. They were the ones I'd made in 2022, and they're being loaded. I wonder if I can get some interaction through loading this Dave's Diary series at the same time. The idea being is that I loaded all of them chronologically in order so that they have some continuity. I'm numbering each individual video with a number, hence here I know how many, there's 31 at the moment, and a date. So because I do that because I get really annoyed. I don't know what I'm doing, but I get really annoyed when I look at a video and I thought, have I watched this before or not? And it looks similar, and I do the same thing. I make very similar videos, but the video title and lack of information in the title means that I'm not looking at the video I want. Anyway, long story short, I wonder whether I should actually, number 32, should kick off the workshop series. They do need to be done in sequence, otherwise it'll get for me, a bit difficult. Well, they don't need to be. I want to load them in, chronologically in order, but this sort of thing would mean that I could get the feedback of other people that have got more experience and knowledge and skill than I have, because I'm good at what I do, but I am, well, because this is not, these videos aren't made for children, my terminology is I'm tits useless, old school, doing this sort of work, because I'm, again, teaching myself, picking up from videos, but there's nothing like doing it yourself, finding a problem, and then getting someone to give you a hand to sort it out. That issue there would have been sufficient for me to start adjusting the plate on the track saw. As I go along, I saw a second one that was out. Come along here, it was perfect. I think the track saw is pretty close to cutting correctly, so it must it not be my way of holding the track saw. Do I need to have the track saw track supported at this end so I don't inadvertently induce a twist? So it actually has to have this support. And that then lends itself to, if I'm going to make the MFT style top, to utilise the cutting off a full length like this, 2.4, which it is, it needs to be well supported, even to the point where maybe the first 200 and the last 200 is supported. I'm making this up. I don't know. You might know, and hence my my quandary. Tapping foot in thought. It must be. How can it be that the rest of the cut's okay when it's only the first 300 or 400? There's a question. Anyway, I don't know. It might not resolve the loading of the videos might not resolve itself, but yeah, I just want to get things sorted so I can move ahead without having that always, forever in my back of my mind. Maybe someone can comment and say, well, have you ever thought of this, you muppet, that what you're doing here? And I'm going, as it turns out, call me Kermit. No, I didn't think of that. And I needed someone with, as I said, the greater experience, skill and knowledge, etc., to just go, hey, Dave, if you do it this way, mate, you're gonna help yourself out. Maybe I need to do that. It's a lot of videos, mates, and guys, isn't it? Guys and gals. My resource is probably my yak. My problem is my yak. Anyway. Yeah. Tell you what, I might spin it round again, take particular notice how I do what I do, and then see whether I can come up with any insight. If not, if I can't find anything, no video will follow this one saying about that. But if there is, I'll make another one immediately after this and see how we go. With that said, I'll wander off and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye now.